Hello. Today I'd like to talk about the Caribsea Life Rock. Now that isn't a misspelling. It is indeed called Caribsea Life Rock, not to be confused with Live Rock. Now I'm going to go through here and kind of discuss some of the advantages and disadvantages of it, just to kind of help people be better informed when they're making their selection there with their fish tanks and saltwater tanks in particular, reef tanks. Making sure that they are making the best choice for them in terms of knowing what the options are and weighing the advantages and disadvantages. Because all the various sources of live rock, dry rock, life rock, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, so I'm going to kind of cover that here and just cover a little bit more about the Caribsea Life Rock. So first of all, the Caribsea Life Rock is interesting. It's actually dry rock with a man-made bacteria coating. Now, the advantage to this over just conventional dry rock is that you have an established live bacteria coating, which of course gives you a significant advantage over dry rock, because a lot of times dry rock can take a long time in order to establish a good, healthy biological filter. So as mentioned, it is a man-made bacteria coating, and that's what gives it that really cool-looking, purplish coating. Kind of makes it look like it's something that's had coralline algae growing on it for a couple of years, when it really hasn't. It just gives that look, and it's really pretty to start out with, as opposed to just the dead dry rock, which is just kind of a whitish-brown, bland look. So anyway. So from an aesthetic standpoint and a functional standpoint, it does have a distinct advantage over, say, the dry rock. Now, the other big advantage it has over live rock is that live rock, even though I would agree that by and large a real piece of live rock with a multi-diversified biofilter, different biological elements on it, can definitely outperform the Caribsea Life Rock in terms of biological filtration. However, it also comes with risks. People are very familiar with the terminology in the industry of hitchhikers. Now, you can get good hitchhikers, such as, say, feather dusters or something like that. Bristleworms are kind of a mixed bag. Different people have different opinions on them as to whether or not they're good or bad. In general, if they're smaller, most people consider them to be beneficial. However, sometimes when they get really big, they can become a bit of a nuisance. So, anyways, but the point is that live rock comes with these, and it can also come with true pests, stuff like mantis shrimp, xanthid crabs. There was even a case where a guy ended up having an octopus hatch in his tank because there was an egg that hitchhiked on the live rock that they had. So anyways, the live rock can come with a number of pests that you don't want in your tank, and quite frankly, I'll be honest, I've seen the live rock with the bristleworms, and I understand their functionality, but I find them to be hideous. They're nasty, they're ugly looking, and especially when they get big, they just look like gross parasites. And so even though they can be beneficial in eating excess nutrients, I just decided I didn't want them in my tank. Hence, I went with the Caribsea Life Rock. Now, the other advantage over live rock is that Caribsea Life Rock, particularly if you order from Amazon, you can get a 40-pound box for about $3.50 to $4 a pound. That's about what the unit measurement comes out at when you're taking a look at it. Whereas regular live rock can run anywhere from $5 to $7 a pound. Dry rock, for the uncured stuff, you can get as cheap as, say, $1.50 a pound, but once again, you got to go through the curing process, scrub it down real good. In some cases, extreme cases, people have had to bleach it. I would just as soon not have to deal with that. And then the bulk saver reef rock, which is normally, has had some form of scrubbing and curing, It can run anywhere from $2 to $3 a pound. So when you're talking about comparing this to, say, the Bulk Saver Reef Rock, it's actually not that much more expensive. It's maybe about $1 a pound more expensive. So unless you're doing a really, really big tank, something in the 150 to 200 gallon range or more, then I would say that, the cost is negligible between, say, the Bulk Saver Reef Rock and something like Life Rock here. Now, as mentioned, it has a pretty bacteria coating on it, so you've got the, both a look there that's cool. You're pretty much guaranteed pest-free. I think I've seen a couple of feather dusters pop up on these, and that's about it. And a feather duster, of course, anybody will tell you, they're not harmful at all. They're actually kind of cool. They're a little small tube worm, and they put out this fan above them that just kind of filter feeds through various waste nutrients, and so they're not harmful to anything, and they're just beneficial to the tank. So feather dusters are not anything to worry about, and I would say they are definitely good to have. So anyways, you might get the occasional feather duster with these things, but I've never seen bristleworms with them, unless of course they were introduced through somebody supplementing with a regular piece of live rock, or it hitchhiked in maybe on a coral or something like that. But from the rock itself, I've never seen a bristleworm come out of these. So anyways, I would say that the Caribsea Life Rock is a good choice if you're looking for kind of that balance where you're wanting somewhat of an established bacteria filter coating, at least over the dry rock, I should say, but you're wanting to avoid the pests and maybe a little bit more expense with, say, the actual live rock. Now, there are some other options out there that are, kind of designer options, but they tend to get kind of pricey and expensive. So, I mean, if you really want to look into those, I think there's a company called LRC that has some interesting live rock man-made variants that are out there that has like, the good hitchhikers without the bad hitchhikers, something along those lines. But it's pretty pricey stuff. I would say it's even more expensive than regular live rock. So as such, as I said, for most people, realistically, you've got the dry rock, you've got the life rock, and then the regular live rock. If you're looking for maximum biological filtration and you're willing to put up with the pests, then yes, by all means, go with regular live rock. You will be hard-pressed to match it for its function for biological filter. If, however, like me, you just don't want to deal with the pests, the hassle, deal with bristleworms potentially becoming too big and having to find a way to get rid of them, then I would say that the life rock would be a good compromise, because then at least you're getting some beneficial biological bacteria with little to no risk of having any nasty critters that you don't want in your tank. So anyways, that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.